Podcasts on UNC-TV.org are made possible through the financial contributions of viewers like you, who invite you to join them in supporting UNC-TV.
New Stories from the South 2010 marks the 25th anniversary of the critically acclaimed anthology of Southern short stories. North Carolina Bookwatch host D.G. Martin recently sat down with series editor Kathy Pories to talk about the new collection.
You've chosen a story which takes us into a different mountain environment in a family that many of us who will be reading this who are readers of literary fiction, a place that we've never been, in a very struggling, poor, drug-influenced family, and in the shoes of a little boy who's dealing with all that.
Yeah.
Why'd you choose this story?
That's an amazing story. Well, it's about a boy, Jared, whose parents are, I guess you could say, crack addicts, and he discovers a helicopter with 2 killed people in it. He knows it's out there, but when he finds it with this dead couple in it, he actually gets inside, and it's this cozy little place in the helicopter. But he steals the woman's ring because he knows that his parents will need the money.
These are dead people in an airplane crash. Nobody else is. He's the first person to find them.
He's the first person to find them, yeah.
So he steals or he takes the ring.
He takes the
obviously ring. Abandoned property right here, but he doesn't. Anyway, he takes it.
Actually, he takes it not to give to his parents. He takes it for a girl he's sweet on, and he's going to give her. Yeah.
At that age where he's thinking about girls, and he's got a favorite girl that he would like to.
Yeah, I mean, it's wonderful because it starts out with you just this idea of this innocent young boy, and you're thinking, oh, what a horrible thing, he stumbled on these 2 dead people. But he seems so calm, and then he goes home and you realize he's growing up with 2 very drug-addled parents.
These are not good parents.
Not by any stretch.
It might be,
yeah.
He seems to love them and care for them, but in a special sort of way.
I think the way that whenever you grow up with parents with problems, you, as a child, you make sense of it. You make it your life. You don't sit around saying, my parents are weird. You kind of work with it, within that.
It shouldn't have been a surprise, and I don't think it's unfair to Ron Rash to tell what happened to the ring that the little boy didn't get to keep it, and what happened to it.
And then, yeah, so what you might expect happens is the parents take it and sell it and buy more drugs and come home and they've taken too much or done too much crack. And
this, I'm struggling, probably not fair to Ron to give away the final ending of this, but the setting itself for me was so wonderful because it really did take me out of my life into the life, first of all, of somebody of a totally different age struggling with growing up in today's time, and then a set of parents whom you'd want to reach out to. You'd feel like if somebody would just help them, maybe they could get out of this pattern, but it wasn't going to work. But how should I be different? What was a transformative moment here?
Well, for me, I mean, I thought what was so moving about this story was how he actually felt safer in the helicopter with the dead couple than he did in his own house. There's a line in there, he says something like, it felt so warm and cozy in the helicopter. And he's, lying there with 2 dead people, but at least it's stability. And what he has at home, it's just, there's no stability. He never knows what he'll find when he walks in that door.
Well, these are all great stories, and there are many more. I promised when we got started that I would come back and give you a chance to share with us your thoughts about Southern writing. You have a whole franchise that's based on Southern writing being a little bit different.
Yeah.
Does it get harder and harder to define what Southern writing and Southern authors are and what the differences are without?
It only gets harder for people asking us the question. They want us to say, this is what it is. And I think for anyone who's lived in the South or has moved to the South, you realize it's become a very fluid place. Very hard to define. In one of the stories, Night Blooming, the young guy in it says, all these old guys, they know where they're from. They say to him, who are your people? And he says he didn't even know how to answer that because he didn't know. You know, it's just not the same South it used to be, where you always knew who your kin were.
Well, I mean, that's the same way we used to ask the question. And so
right.
when it is no longer important to say, where do you go to church? Who are your people?
Yeah.
Where'd you come from? And we can't get solid answers from our contemporaries anymore. What then does make us Southern?
I think even like in that story, the younger guy, he still wants that. So even if it is somewhat, the boundaries are getting blurred, I think there's a genuine longing in the South to maintain those ties.
So the thing that's special about the South is no longer that we have these deep roots in the ground, but that we long for what we used to we used to have.
I want to say that. I mean, and I'm probably the last person to say it because I'm from Ohio.
Yeah,
but
you've been, I mean,
I've been here a while. But I know this is one of the things I love about it here, that people do want to keep those ties.
Well, that's different. I mean, would there be could an Ohioan be in this collection? I mean, would they?
If they set their story in the South.
If they set the story in the South, they could. But would that be likely?
Yes. Yes.
So you could write a story based. Now you're
in this dream universe where I wrote stories. Yes.
And you can see all of DG's conversation with author Kathy Pories tomorrow at 9:30 p.m. and again on Sunday at 5.
Podcasts on UNC-TV.org are made possible through the financial contributions of viewers like you, who invite you to join them in supporting UNC-TV.